All right, you guys. Okay, so I have a lot of fun announcements tonight and a great call full of really usable information and topics they'll be able to take away and you can start applying as soon as you have your next workout or whenever you happen to look at your wrist again. So first and foremost, though, we're going to talk through some announcements like usual. Feel free to ask any questions at any point. I have some really big things in the works for us coming up here shortly that some of you in the invest group have a little bit of a heads up on already, which is super cool. But as far as announcements go, all of your assessments are completed for the week. Please feel free to check on those if you have not looked at them yet. Halloween candy, I wanted to touch on this, right? Everybody's going to be tempted by the Reese's peanut butter cups and the nerds and all the stuff that's hanging out in their kids' stuff. Like, if this is tempting you, either put it out of your view or maybe like ask the kids to pick out their favorites and you donate the rest of it. And then that way you don't touch their stuff, give it away. It's also just something to keep in mind. It's not worth like going nuts in their candy bowl to eat whatever's there if you don't even really enjoy it just because it's been a bad day, right? I feel like when it's in our house and it's right there on the counter and you're like, ooh, I just want something sweet. And all of a sudden you've had like 7 mini things and it's been 14 seconds. So you go, oh my God, how did that happen? Right. So if those are your temptations, if those are the things you're struggling with, like minimize it, get it out of your view, get rid of it. It's just not going to be worth it. Wanted to also remind us that there's 4 weeks left of this current challenge, right? We are in the middle of week 4 right now, which is kind of crazy. It honestly feels like it's taking a long time to go through this challenge for some reason. I'm not sure why. It's probably just the time of year and how crazy it's been with the farm. But we do have 4 weeks left. And something I wanted to touch on with being November and coming up with holidays and travel and all of those things, if nothing else, aim to maintain over the next 8 weeks. Go into 2024 feeling at least how you feel now. For most of our population, that's a win. That's a win. I didn't even look at the latest statistics for how much they're expecting the average American to gain over this period of time because it's just depressing. So just understand that if you maintain you feeling pretty much how you feel right now going into 2024, you are in the top percentages of healthy. Like, let's do that. Okay. I am really excited for the big changes coming in December and January moving forward. I'm not going to go super public with it yet in here, but there are going to be some changes. There's going to be a lot more very specific, challenge options for our crew, a lot more reward opportunities, a lot more community opportunities, just like a lot more personal touches kind of thing. It's going to be really, really awesome. And I'm really excited for it. As soon as I have more specific information on that, as soon as I can really share that with you, I will absolutely do so via messages and contact information and everything. Because I definitely want to make sure everybody knows about it. But as of right now, just wait for it. It's going to come. As far as December, I did want to touch on this as well. The habit boards, they're great. They're going to get us through the rest of November. But in December, on the 1st, like that first week of December, last week of November is our last habit board. But on the 1st of December, there's going to be a new blackout board coming out, right? Our classic blackout boards with all the little task things where it's like, write down 3 things you're grateful for, or tell your kids a funny joke, or wrap the Christmas gift, or whatever, so that you are doing that at midnight on Christmas Eve. Hello. Those types of things, right? That's going to be really helpful, and it'll just be a fun way for you guys to keep getting through this holiday craziness. So there's going to be a new blackout board with new prize at the end of December, all the fun stuff, just like it always has been. Sample frenzy, don't forget about that. I've had a couple of people ordering samples already. We're doing that right now through Tuesday. And that is if you spend any sort of amount of money buying samples from my website, which if you don't know where to find those, let me know. But you can buy as little as like samples of greens or whatever you want to try. And then from there, that will enter you into a drawing for a $25 1P gift card. Every single time that I have $100 worth of samples come through in total, so maybe your sample order adds up to like $20. Meanwhile, somebody else's maybe adds up to $50. But as soon as I hit that $100 threshold each time, I will add another $25 gift card into that drawing mix for you all. So if you've been wanting to try new flavors, or if you've been wanting to try new products, or if you have a new friend in the group that maybe hasn't tried things yet, or maybe you're getting ready to go on a trip or travel or something and you need some of those like to-go options, give them a try and maybe you'll find something you love and then maybe you'll get a $25 gift card out of it as well. But all of that is found through my website. So if you need help finding that, just let me know, shoot me a message and I'll get you right to it. Next week, I have some fun stuff planned for throughout November to keep us going. So next week, what you can expect starting Wednesday through the following Tuesday is like a Family Feud style question once a day. And I'm going to question like first answers, right? For Mackenzie, myself, Jenna, and Jamie. So like Team NH Fit, right? Your coaches and admin. And we're going to give our first answer that comes to our mind. And then you guys are going to keep track of your answers each day. And whomever has the most right answers, then I'm going to send you some special little fun gift prize sample pack, something like that, at the end of the week. So I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely keep up with that. There'll be like that one question a day coming out in the Facebook group. And you can definitely participate in that. So it's just going to be a fun thing. Week after that, I have another fun little surprise for you as well. So I will obviously showcase that once it gets here. And then the week after that is going to be Black Friday deals, Thanksgiving week, all of that stuff. So, I mean, there's no guarantee there'll be Black Friday deals. Usually First Form does some sort of thing where you buy X number amount of things, you get this free amount of packaged stuff, right? I'm not sure what that looks like right now, but just so you know, that's going to be there likely when peppermint bark level 1, peppermint bark bars, and the peppermint mocha collagen will all come back at the same time as well. So if those are some of your favorites, that'll be the time to hop on them. NH Fitness gear release. God, I have a lot of announcements today. If you missed that, there is now gear available. We have everything from tank tops and t-shirts to zip up hoodies, and we are doing pre-orders on socks, which is so fun. I got a lot of requests for like goofy socks, so we designed them, we put them out there, we're doing them as a pre-order. I do ask, like, we need to have anybody who wants to pre-order those socks, we need to have those orders in by November 15th. And then I'll put all of the orders in at once and they will be shipped directly to you from the vendor. Also, if you do order multiple pieces of items, like you order like a hoodie and a tank top and the socks, whatever, you might get 3 different packages because they come from different vendors. So if not all of your stuff that you ordered is in your first package, just be patient. There will be another one. So that is that. From there, the only other thing, please share like podcasts, posts, info, anything that you see fit with anybody to get them into the group, with our future announcement coming, like all of those things. I'm making a really, really big push to really develop into my own brand. It's about damn time, to be honest. And so I want to help as many new people and as many current people as I possibly can. So the more, the better. So if you know of people that are kind of on the fence, wanting to wait until the first, because that's how a lot of people are, get them into the group now, get them to know who I am now. That way they can see this new plan develop and they can get to know us and get used to the situation and how we operate. And that way they're ready to rock and roll on the first, right? So if you have people in mind that you know of, please send them our way. If there's anything that you find useful about the podcast, about the posts that I make, the recipes that we develop, anything, share it away, tag me in it if you want to, but the more the merrier. And that's that. So now we're going to get into the topic tonight, which is all about smartwatches. So the main things that people look at on their smartwatches is one, the time. Okay, that's fine. But also we look at steps and we look at calories burnt. Let me tell you, I just got this watch this week, and this is the Garmin Venue 3S, da, 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 da. I don't know how many letters of the alphabet there's going to be in there. Let me tell you, there's a lot more information in here than just steps and just, what time it is and the calories burnt that day. We need to learn how to look at more statistics than what they mean. So we're not going to go through all of these, right? I don't think it's imperative that we understand what all of these are right off the bat to get the most out of our watches, because let's be totally honest, our watches are only moderately accurate anyhow. But I am going to go over a couple of the key pieces that I want you guys to look at and understand when you are looking at your watch statuses as you go through your days and your workouts and whatnot. So things I suggest you focus on are going to be your steps. Definitely a good one to keep an eye on. It's fairly accurate for sure. Your sleep quality, as well as your heart rate, resting and during workouts. Those are going to be our biggest things that I want you focusing on with your watches when you're looking at these statistics to see how you're doing and what things we can improve on in order to get the best quality results as fast as possible. So steps, why do we care about those? If you're newer here or a refresher, here we go. Walking is the optimal exercise choice to burn body fat directly. And I'll explain what I mean by directly here in a minute. But to understand this, okay, walking is a really low intensity exercise. So that means that we are using an energy system called the oxidative system in our body, which means we are burning literal body fat for calories, energy, in order to get through that walk. So because you're doing low intensity work, we're not using up carbohydrates or glycogen as much as we're using up body fat. If you want to burn body fat, you need to walk more, right? So keeping a tab on steps each day is going to be imperative, which is one of the reasons why I will not go to bed without 10,000 steps anymore. I have been lacking. Ashley, you are inspiring me right now. I need to get my butt doing that. I have 1,000 steps left for the day and I'm going to get them. But that also is something else. Low impact also reduces swelling and inflammation in our bodies. Lifting, which is great for us, can add to the inflammation and swelling in our body, but walking is going to help reduce that. The less inflammation and swelling we have, that's not excessive, is all for the better. Also leads to less injuries, right? If you're worried about being injured or you're new to working out or anything like that, getting extra steps and walking in is going to be beneficial because you are way less likely to get injured going out for a walk than you are trying to do CrossFit for the first time. So let's baby step into things literally. Also excellent for stress reduction. Outdoors is a bonus. I know it's getting chilly out, you guys, but it hit 60 today. It was actually quite nice for a walk this afternoon here. So excellent for that stress reduction. Go out, hear the birds, look at the sunrise, look at the clouds, look at the trees, feel the leaves under your feet, all the things, right? I know it sounds super woo-woo, whatever, but it really is beneficial for helping reduce that stress. And yes, so we're going to aim for 10,000 steps a day at a minimum. Okay. That's going to be our goals. Now, as far as sleep goes, not everybody's watch reads sleep, but most watches these days give you some sort of sleep monitor or body battery, which is what Garmin says, or like stress reduction amount throughout the day kind of thing. So sleep, looking at your sleep quality is going to be really, really huge. So sleep amount and quality is highly important for recovery, repair, brain health, and more. When we sleep, that is when our body literally cleans out all of the dead cells, all of the metabolic waste, all of the excess junk. It repairs everything. It goes through all of these processes to rebuild and repair. It processes memories and it makes us smarter, and we wake up with less brain fog and all this great stuff. But if we get crappy sleep, you're going to be stuck. You're not going to see a lot of progress with your goals. So we really need to focus on that sleep for your overall health and progress. So like, for instance, my watch shows sleep hours, body battery, and then it's all based on stress of the day. So if I have a higher stress day, maybe I do a really hard workout, like my 90 minutes of legs this morning, because I just couldn't stop. It felt too good. And so my body battery obviously decreased with what I had left because I worked out so hard for so long. So now my sleep needs are a bit higher to help recover from the extra workout. Okay. So you look at your body battery or your hours needed and make sure that you're matching those fairly evenly as often as you can. It's not always going to be perfect, trust me, but we can try. And then we can also look at recovery after, or let's see, so that's stress of the day and then recovery after it as well, such as HRV. So like this reads HRV, which is heart rate variability. That is the beats per minute while you're sleeping, essentially. And that is very highly affected by a ton of things that we are not going to get into tonight. Just know that like alcohol affects it, eating too late affects it, stress affects it, like everything affects it. So just keep in mind HRV is a number that we can look at, but we can't base everything on it. So if you have an HRV score, try not to read too much into it. Let's focus on basic sleep needs and body battery numbers first. Let's see. So all of those factors take into account to avoid overtraining, excess stress on our bodies, injury, and others like hormone and even gut health. So really, really focusing on that sleep quality is going to be huge. So depending on the person, 7 to 9 hours per night is preferred. I know that that's not possible for everyone, but that is what is preferred. And then go off of your recovery levels to judge how hard to push workouts as well. So and this isn't always. You have to like be smarter than what your watch says. Okay. Have common sense. If your watch was stuck in your sleeve and it reads that you got 0 sleep last night, but you wake up feeling like a spring chicken, then let's go ahead and be a spring chicken. Okay. Go work out. But if you wake up feeling really groggy and like tired and lethargic and feel very strong that day, maybe you aren't supposed to push it to get a whole bunch of PRs that day. Really try and judge how you feel, and that will help you determine how you should really move forward with those workouts each day. So keep a look at that sleep quality, that body battery, if you have a Garmin and that reads that for you. The last thing I really want you paying attention to is your heart rate. So first things first, resting heart rate. We want a lower resting heart rate, as that is going to be signs of healthier habits and healthier lifestyle, healthier cardiovascular settings. So normal ranges is going to be 60 to 80 beats per minute for resting. That's going to be our normal healthy ranges for most people. Mine is 46, which means I'm in pretty good cardiovascular condition, which is great news. But you don't want to watch me run or do sprints because I will still poop out pretty quick. But my resting heart rate is fairly low. So that does mean that that's a sign that I'm in good cardiovascular condition. So if you're anywhere from like the low 40s to like 60 to 80, you're in the normal range, but the lower, the better in that resting heart rate most of the time. Let's see. As far as training with your HR zones, that's going to be a big piece too. So instead of looking at your calories burnt and how long you've been doing something, instead look at your heart rate while you're doing your workouts. See where you're at, right? Because we want to make sure that we're training in different sorts of zones to get the best benefit out of them, not worrying so much about what calorie tick you're at, because honestly, it's not that accurate. So zones are based generally on age. And then the better shape you're in, the harder it is to reach those zones and to stay in them, right? So recovery is a lot faster. So for instance, I can do sprints, my heart rate can get up to 170, 180. And then as soon as I stop and I walk, my heart rate drops back down to those 130s, 120s, 110s within 30, 40 seconds. If you are not in very good shape, you're new to this, it's going to take longer for your heart rate to come back down. The better shape you're in, the harder it is to get up there and the harder it is to stay up there. So I want you to kind of understand that, be able to judge that while you're doing your workouts. Generally, if you want to calculate it, right, because there's like on my watch, there's like a blue range, which is kind of like easy and warm up. Then it gets into yellow and then it gets into green, which means that you're, I don't know, at whatever stage. And then there's red, which is like you are killing it. Okay, so there's different levels, and what those are, those different zones that your heart rate is falling into at that time. So generally the way that you calculate that, but the watch is already done for you, is to take 220 minus your age, and that will give you your approximate maximum heart rate. Then what you do is you take that maximum heart rate and you multiply that by 68% to 73% for your easy heart rate range, by 74% to 80% for your steady heart rate range, 81 to 87% for moderately hard, 88 to 93% for hard, and then 94 to 100% for extreme. Most of us are not training in extreme, right? Shouldn't be very often, maybe once a week, every other week. Okay. That's going to be like when you do 4 rounds of hard sprints, like really pushing it, right? Hitting hard is gonna be like you're red, but you're not gonna want to stay there for very long, right? Most of your stuff should be kind of like in that yellow green area, in the zones 1, 2, 3 would be where most of us really want to be for most of the time. So you can kind of play with that, see where your watch is reading you as far as a heart rate and a zone goes, so you can get the most out of that. Cardio type workouts and HIIT are going to jump you up a lot faster and get you there a lot easier than just like strength workouts, right? But what I want you to understand is that cardio is great for certain things, but strength training, heavier weights, hypertrophy training, right? Those are going to mostly bring you into a 1 and 2 zone, right? I can be absolutely tapped, but my heart rate says it's at like 102. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm working so much harder than this right now. But what is really cool about strength workouts, what I want you to remember is that your heart rate shouldn't skyrocket during them. It's not designed like that. And most of the calorie burn during strength training workouts doesn't happen during the workout. It happens in the repair process after the workout. Okay, so all the things are happening in the background after you've done everything, after you've showered and eaten and gotten to work or got whatever. That is when you're burning most of your calories, is during that repair process. So that's why sleep is super important as well. Let me just bring that back to you. When we sleep, that's when we recover and we rebuild. So that's why sleep is really important too. Okay. You do not need to leave the gym in a puddle of sweat constantly to be effective. And honestly, it will help more if you don't have that mindset. I love a good hard workout. Trust me, it's awesome. It feels good to just leave it all out on the floor on occasion. But doing that to yourself day in and day out is not going to be beneficial for you in the long run for 99% of people. So really I suggest like HIIT type workouts 1 to 2 times per week, strength workouts 3 to 5 times per week, and then walking every day, just walking. That's going to be your sweet spot. That's where you're going to find the most success. As far as the calories burnt, you guys, right? Like we all tend to look at it, but it's inaccurate. They say up to 40% off from the actual calorie expenditure is what the watches are. 40 to 80% off. That is not good. Okay, so if you look at your watch and it says that you burnt 800 calories, but it's 80% off, that's way less calories burnt, right? So that's why it's really, really, really important to focus on those other pieces that are much more accurate, and never, ever base your food choices on earning them from doing a good hard workout where your calories were burnt at such numbers. Fuel appropriately with food, regardless of your workout, of how intense it was, of how high your heart rate was, right? Fuel appropriately afterwards, regardless. Do not force yourself to do hard workouts to earn foods. That's not how we do things here. So that was a lot. It is 7:40. Who has any questions at all? Everybody's good. All right. Well, I will let you guys go. If you come up with any questions after we hang up, you know where to find me. Have a beautiful rest of your Thursday, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye, everybody.